Hello there, Sith Holocron from the Dongers of Runeterra with another brand new deck, and it's a new patch, so we're on patch 1.14, and I'm wearing my Northern Ireland top, as today is the day that Northern Ireland tried to make the Euro finals for the second successive time in a row, so green and white army, here we go. And speaking of good things all round, like the Northern Ireland football team, Ezreal's back. Ezreal's back. He is just bonkers right now. He is just fantastic right now. And all these new patch things are making me go, oh, yes, yes, what can we do? So I'm actually thinking at the minute with all the different things, I'm going to make a new Shadow Wilds deck and I'm going to involve Black Spear in that because that is just horrendous now. That it now does 4 damage. But let's go into my deck. So you only need to target 6 enemies now. He's still the same cost. Still all this. What a buff. What a buff he is. Oh god. He's just fantastic. He is just fantastic. And Swain, you know, so let's put Swain in. And then go, okay, so what's my win condition with these two champions? Well, I need to target enemies 6 times. Now, his change is this. So you still get a fleeting Mystic Shot in hand. That is fantastic. But when you cast a spell, it not only deals 1 to the enemy nexus, unless, of course, you target an enemy and deal 2 to the enemy nexus instead, meaning if we now just hit units all the time, we're still doing 2 when he levels up. And his level up is 2 cheaper than his original version, and now 4 people less to level up. A whole load of spells, do you reckon? I reckon so. Let's put out a few cheap units, like really few. Hold off the early mid-game. Late game, Leviathan Swain, win. I mean, that's the only way I can describe this. It's the only way I can describe how this deck works, and it's brutal. It's oh god, it's so much fun playing Ezreal again. So what have we got? Well, let's do the deck. Let's hit the magic button and realize that including our 6 champions, we've only got 9 other units, but not quite. So let me show you what we've got. I have decided pretty much to do a bit of a weird one. Now, bear in mind, 3 of these are Leviathan. So I need something that will help me chump block. So let's go through from top to bottom as we always do in the Dongers of Runeterra YouTube channel. Let's start with the good old Thermo Beam. That is pretty much a guaranteed goodbye, you are dead. Added to which, if you have 0 mana on one of these and you are on 5, beam it for nothing, Ezreal levels up. You can cast that for nothing, do 0 damage, but because you have targeted an enemy with a spell, even though the spell didn't work or do any damage, still targeted. There we go. That's a fantastic little way to get something quite mean, which is why we're running 3 of. And this deck will pretty much run 3s right the way across, because that's how you need to build an Ezreal deck. You want the spells to be effective. You need them in hands nearly at all times. And this spell is multifaceted. 4 to a unit if it's damaged or stunned. Yeah, thank you. We're in for that, if you don't mind. Thank you very much indeed. So the units and the spells here you're going to see are very much just Ezreal and Swain spells. I mean, this is not a brand new deck, but it is a brand new deck because I think this Ezreal is, you know, Ezreal version 3 is by far and away the best Ezreal that Riot have allowed us to use. This is fantastic. Will help level up Swain and help level up Ezreal. Fantastic. There is nothing better in a game than putting down 2 mana for a unit to then get another unit for free beside it with half its stats, and that's exactly why we are running 3 House Spiders. Cheap, cheerful, lovely, all good. Thank you very much. 2 units for 2 mana. Oh, yeah. The mana efficiency off the chart. So essentially, we're actually getting not 15, we're getting, if we drop this 3 times, 18 units for free, which is splendid. Absolutely splendid. And really does help settle your early game. If you can get any damage for these guys, by all means do. You do need to do 20 damage to win a game. So if you can get them in nice and quickly, say you're up against like a Field of Rush deck and they're not really putting anything in deck until turns at least 3 or 4. They will die to avalanches, that's fair enough, but if you can get in maybe 5 or 6 damage, you are a quarter of the way to your end goal, which is superb. Mystic Shot, the best thing for Ezreal in the world. Deal 2 to anything. It's just great. You can hit the Nexus with it. They kind of win if you want. But why would you? Because if he's levels, you do 2 to anything. Do 2 to unit 2 in there. Yeah, it's pretty decent, so it is. But if you need to do 3, deal 2 to the Nexus, and then because you've hit the Nexus, you're not hitting an enemy unit, and you only get 1 in there, but you still win. Arachnoid Sentry, well, this synergizes so damn well with Ravenous Flock. I miss playing Yasuo and not having the Arachnoid Sentry, but I do genuinely think that Leona Yasuo's better, so oh well, I get to put him back into another SWAIN deck, which is kind of cool. 3 of those as well, and then we're going to go for the really good cards in here. Kill a unit with 3 or less power. And I always like to look at the champions. So dead, 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 dead. Not dead, dead. My SWAIN is dead. Your Vi is dead if you put her down. You have to have played 2 cards before you put her down, or a Culling Strike just kills it. And if that isn't bad enough, then let's do 2 to an enemy and 1 to the enemy Nexus. Now we're running 3 of these and only 2 Culling Strikes. As a Culling Strike, as you can see, is effective, but not as effective in a deck that wants to kill things right off, to be fair. This was probably the last spell I put in, while Death's Hand was one of the first ones that I put in. Obviously, we've got Ezreal at 3 mana, and as you can see, we've got an awful lot of stuff that's very, very cheap indeed. So we do. So there's Ez being all long-haired with his beautiful welding goggles. Trying to look, kind of cool. But he is kind of cool. He is. I mean, that's a better shot of his goggles. He does quite a lot. So I'm sure he needs that with all the electricity from his Mystic Shots. Scorched Earth is, to me, an incredibly interesting card. Because we are seeing a lot of landmark decks in the meta at the minute. And that's pretty cool. And I like the fact that we can not only kill a damaged unit. So say you're up against a Nautilus, or say you're up against a 10-10 that have been bought by Field of Rush. You can block it, and for 3 mana, just kill it. Or, somebody's put down a landmark, and it's ruining your own game plan. At 3 mana, your landmark can just completely and utterly disappear, which is kind of cool. So I kind of like that a great deal. But again, I don't want to have a lot of these, so that's why we're going with 3. And it's essentially, for every time you're going to be up against a landmark deck, you have 2 cards in your deck that will just ruin their entire game plan completely. So that's real good. A lot of people have fallen out of love with Gotcha, but with the changes to Ezreal, this is a good card now. It's also fantastic for SWAIN because you're doing 3 non-combat damage with this. And if you can, when you draw it, dealing 3 to a unit is fantastic. You're leveling up both champions, which is why we're running 3 of these in the deck. And it is an excellent card to use. As is Static Shock. Now, Static Shock is where you deal 1 to an enemy and 1 to the Nexus, or 1 to another enemy. So in this deck, you will want to be doing, wait until there's at least 2 people out there and deal 1 to each. That is Ezreal 1/3 leveled, if that's the first spell that you've managed to play. Seemingly very good. And then the rest of it is pretty standard. 3 Swains, do 12 non-combat damage. However, if he hits the Nexus before he levels, he deals 3. And then, as we can see over here, if he deals non-combat damage, you stun the strongest back row enemy, which when you combine that with Leviathan, who deals 1 to the enemy Nexus 3 times, if he is on the board, then people are getting stunned. That means they can't attack, and that is pretty much, if you've ever played Runeterra, you always have 3 Swains and 3 Leviathans, and when you drop a Leviathan, if you don't have Swain, he puts 1 into your hands, which is fantastically good. And the final 3 cards in the deck are Progress Day. Now, I really like Progress Day. That's draw 3 and then reduce those cards by 1. Normally in this guy's decks, to be able to get more spells. So essentially we went down the Heimerdinger Donger Vi deck. That sort of thing. Like the original Ezreal decks and the best cards from SWAIN. Put them all together into one. Added in a few new cards like Scorched Earth. This deck's win rate at the minute for me is 62%. It is super strong. It is super strong because people aren't really using Ezreal. So, with that in mind, we now have a new deck with Ezreal. I am going to share the clipboard and we are done. Guys, my name is Sith Holocron. Thank you very, very much indeed for watching all our videos. We are becoming a much bigger Runeterra group than I ever thought possible, so thank you so much for all your support. Come and join us on Discord, this Deckcode, and all our social media links like Instagram, Facebook, and all that sort of stuff are in the pinned comments underneath the video. Come on, Northern Ireland, let us get to the Euros. That is at 8 o'clock this evening, so by the time that this comes out a few days later, you'll be able to laugh at me that Slovakia have beaten us, or go, well done, now go ahead and win it against Germany and Spain. Yeah, not going to happen. But damn, will we drink and have good fun at the same time. Till the next time, thanks for watching. Dongers out.